Hello students, it's good to see you all here again. Hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to continue with our chapter number 9 of geography, that is human resources. So students, what according to you is a human resource? Like what makes human that compatible and that having that particular potential with which they are capable of doing their work? Actually, human resource is a kind of tendency that gives human the appropriate opportunity to create the best from the resources available near them and to them. Distribution of population. People are not evenly distributed on the globe. The way they are settled in different parts of the world is referred to as the pattern of population distribution. It means that like we humans are not settled on a particular place on a particular land. We are even unevenly distributed all over the country and all over the world. And in that case, that particular thing is known as pattern of population distribution. Only 30% of the world's land houses more than 90% of the world's population. Approximately 75% of the total population of the world lives in two continents, that is Asia and Africa. Here they are talking about almost 75% and 90% of the population is living and residing in the total areas, and the total population of the world lives in two continents, that is Asia and Africa. 10 countries of the world accommodate nearly 60% of the world's total population, and like the remaining 10 countries contribute to the remaining 60% of the total population. Next we have density of population. Population density is defined as the number of people living in a 1 square kilometer of land. Means people living in 1 square kilometer of land is defined as a density of population. The world's average population is 51 persons density per square kilometer, means 51% live in 1 square kilometer area. The countries of Eastern Asia, South and Southeast Asia, Western and Central Europe, and East Central North America have high density of population because they have favorable climatic conditions. Students, one of the reasons that why people prefer staying in such areas where where they can have all the favorable conditions, wherever the weather conditions will be there in favor, and they can easily get all the resources like eating, and they can have their pastures and all. So they prefer moving and settling in these countries areas. And like the regions also have rich agricultural land and are highly industrialized in sense like they can get their products and they can easily have access to the things that they really need in their day-to-day life. The central part of the USA, coastal areas of South America, South Africa, southern Asia, southern parts of Russia, central China, and Argentina are some countries with medium density of population. Why they don't have medium high density of population? Because maybe the conditions are not that in favor, and also like maybe people don't prefer staying in such hilly areas. The places such as hot deserts, polar regions, and dense equatorial rainforest have low density of population, and this is the reason that why don't people don't prefer living in such areas. Now comes factors affecting distribution of population. Why is the population of the world so unevenly distributed? There are several factors responsible for this. These factors could be classified as physical, social, cultural, and economic factors. Here, in this particular term, they're talking about that what are the things because of which people don't prefer staying in the areas where they can easily locate. And though even the land is proper over there, why don't they prefer staying on the lands? Next comes physical factors. Factors such as topography of a region, climate, and natural resources determine the distribution of population at a particular place. Topography is a kind of artificial intelligence which has been designed by the technologians that can capture easily that what are the distributions of people living in a particular area, and what are the reasons that why people don't prefer living in hill areas, why people don't prefer living in hot deserts, and why people don't prefer living in cold deserts such as tundra and all. Topography. People often prefer to live in the plains as they find it easier to construct houses, roads and highway and railway lines. This is the reason why the Ganga plain is counted as one of the most densely populated regions of the world. Ganga plain means like the plain where from where the Ganga resides, and like people also prefer staying near side about the river because they can easily access and they can have a rich variety of agriculture and fertility of the soil. On the other hand, the mountains and high plateaus like the Andes, Himalayas, Alps, and Tibet are sparsely populated. They don't have much population because of their area, because of their hilly areas, and also because of the unfavorable conditions. Next comes climate. Places with extreme climatic conditions like the Sahara Desert and polar regions are sparsely populated because surviving in such areas and in such conditions is difficult. On the other hand, places with moderate climate and rainfall support a large population. It's very obvious that people will never prefer staying in such hot deserts and such cold deserts like Tundra and Thar, because their favor conditions will not be in favor, and that will not support any kind of human civilization over there. Natural resources. The availability of water, fertile soil, and mineral resources also affect the concentration of population in a region. River valleys and basins are densely populated. Regions rich in mineral resources are also preferred places for settlements. Means area where natural resources are present in abundance. People prefer living in such areas because they can easily extract out their usages from the natural resources which are present around them, and which is one of the most important things that they look after. Social, cultural, and economic factors. Moving on, first one, social factors. Areas where people have developed a better social infrastructure in terms of better facilities for education, healthcare, and housing are densely populated. For example, New Delhi, New York City, and Hong Kong. They mean to say that they're the places where people have made a healthy environment to live with a proper education system and proper healthcare system like hospitals. People prefer living in such areas like New Delhi, Hong Kong, and New York City. Then comes cultural. There are some places in the world which have religious and cultural significance. Like me, mostly people prefer living in such areas where their culture is given more importance as compared to the other things. For example, Varanasi in India, Jerusalem in Israel, and Mecca in Saudi Arabia. These places have a high population density because of their cultural and heritage value. Next comes economic. The economic opportunity has emerged as one of the most and major regions for the high density of population in the cities. Places like Mumbai in India and Osaka in Japan are densely populated because they provide a large number of job opportunities, which is one of the most important reason that why people prefer living in cities as compared to rural areas, because they need money to have a proper survival and a healthy living, and in that case it's very important for them to earn a good amount, and these kind of cities give them a good job opportunity rather, and also a good pay grade. Next we have population growth. The number of people on the earth is not static, it's not particular fixed, it keeps changing. It's dynamic actually. Change in the number of people during a particular period of time is referred to as population change. Suppose you are living in an area where you are 10 people living in an area, and all of a sudden two people die, and in that case what will happen? Your population will change. That particular area will have no more the value of 10. Now it will be considered as 8. In that case it is considered that yes, there is a population change. Population change occurred because of the change in the number of births and deaths. As I stated, births and deaths are the natural reasons for the change in population. The birth rate is measured as the number of births per thousand people. We have birth rates and death rates. Birth rate is considered as the number of births of live people per thousand people, whereas the death rate is measured as the number of deaths per thousand people, means how many children are being born per thousand and how many people are dying per thousand. Difference between the birth rate and the death rate is called the natural growth rate. Means natural growth rate is the difference between the birth rate and the death rate, that how many people are dying and how many births are taking place in an year or in a particular area. The annual growth rate is population is expressed as a percentage, and the following answer is expressed in a form of percentage ratio. Migration is another reason for the change in the population, because people move from one place to another, and that also contributes to population change. People move from one place to another with the country or to another countries. People who leave a particular country are referred to as immigrants, means who leave a particular country. People who arrive in a country are referred to as emigrants. Immigrants means the one who leave are known as immigrants, and the one who arrive are known as immigrants. Suppose you're living in Japan and you are coming to India, then in Japan you will be considered as an immigrant, and in India you will be considered as immigrant. People migrate from less developed countries to more developed countries in search of employment opportunities. Means they move from one place to another in search of better lifestyle and better opportunities. Similarly, people migrate within a country from the rural areas to the urban areas in search of job opportunity, better education, and healthcare facilities. Exactly, there's an example of from villages to urban areas, from that is to cities. People move so as to they can get a better opportunity of having a better lifestyle. They can provide better education system to their children, and they can also give a good benefit of their healthcare facilities. Sometimes people are forced to migrate due to the natural calamities like earthquakes and droughts, or due to outbreak of disease, or during a situation of war. Suppose like these times, amidst coronavirus time and COVID, we people are those who are living in outside the in foreign countries, they were forced to come back to their original places, because in this place and this time, like all the peoples were told to settle back to their countries and move back to their countries, because the time period was not fixed. And sometimes when earthquake strikes or hits a particular area, tsunami hits a particular area, then it takes time to recover back the lost things and like clear all the debris and all. So people have to move from one place to another. Because of that, it leads to population change. The government decisions to construct a dam or large factory also forces a large number of people or to move away from that area. This is called mass movement. When due to some government sites or government working, when people are forced to move out to some other place and they have to evacuate that particular area, then that is known as mass movement. Population composition. Population composition is referred as the structure of population. Age, sex, literacy, and occupation are all put together to understand the population composition of a particular country. These areas and these things are and these realms are especially considered in point and in mind, so that they can consider about what composition is about. These factors determine the quality of population as a human resource. Means they see that yes, how and observe that how things work. Age composition. We can study the population composition of a country by looking at its population pyramid. It is also known as an age sex pyramid, as it generates and it enumerates the example of male and female living in a country, and also their birth and death rates about a particular year. The population pyramid, which was given in the back page, reflects the total distribution of males and females in various age groups. Means how many males and how many females we have in a certain age group. The population is divided into three age categories. The number of children below 15 years are placed at the bottom, and it reflects the level of birth rates. Means children below the age of 15 are considered to be on the bottom level. Another age group is between 15 and 65, the working or productive population, because people in this age group are either very productive or either they are very active in their nature. It is the largest group in any population, as they are the active workers. Their productivity decides the development of the nation, and in that case, like the more the age people in that particular age group will be, the more beneficial thing for the Indian economy and for the government, for a country. The size of the top of the pyramid reflects the number of aged group people above 65 years, and it is also shown the number of deaths. And it also shows that yes, how many deaths take place, because after 65, a man is not considered to be to have a very healthy environment because of their fundamentals and functionalities. Next, we have sex ratio. The population comprises both males and females. The ratio between males and females is known as sex ratio. Means how many males and how many females you have per 1,000 males. That is a point that is to be considered. That is, the sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1,000 males. The sex ratio should be balanced, but generally it is not so. In many societies, a male child is preferred over a female child, and that we have been seeing since so long. And we have also studied this in our history sections. Next, we have literacy, that is our education system. Literacy is an indicator of the development of a country. The term literacy means the ability of a person to read, write, and understand. Underline this line. Means if a person is capable of reading, writing, and understanding whatever is written, then in that case, the person is considered to be literate. People are not equally educated in different parts of the world. It is observed that literacy levels are high in developed countries in comparison to developing and underdeveloped countries. We know that developed countries are the countries which have everything in best, and people live a residential life in these areas. Even within a country, urban areas have higher literacy rates than rural areas. Means cities have more number of educated people as compared to rural areas. Also, literacy rate is higher among males than females. According to the census and 2011 census, the literacy rate of India is 74.0%, which is actually good, and now it has increased. Healthy and educated people are a great resource for a country. We are fortunate enough to have a large number of population in India, which could be converted into the greatest resource. As I told you in the starting of the chapter, that yes, the people who use and utilize their resources are considered as the human resource. So it's time to use yourself up for bringing up a good change in your environment, and this is what the chapter was about. Thank you for paying attention, students. For any queries, just access internet, watch videos, and read the chapter again. And in that case, if any other doubt, then just clear it with me. Thank you, take care, and stay safe.